Okay, so standard tuning. So the basic chords. The first chord is G, and it's this kind of G with the third finger on the third fret of the B, first finger on the second fret of the A, second finger on the third fret of the low E, third finger on the third fret of the B. You can have your pinky there on the third fret of the high E. The high E string doesn't get played in this chord, or very much in this song at all, but and then it goes from that to this kind of, it's this kind of like a G/F sharp. First finger on the second fret of the low E, second finger on the second fret of the A, and then everything else open. Then it goes to E minor, first finger on the second fret of the A, second finger on the second fret of the D, and then to C, regular old C, first finger on the first fret of the B, second finger on the second fret of the D, third finger on the third fret of the A, C/B, C over B. So now move your second finger to the second fret on the A. Your third finger moves to the second fret on the D. Your first finger stays on the first fret of the B. And that goes to A minor. First finger on the first fret of the B, second finger on the second fret of the D, third finger on the second fret of the G. And the only other chords in the chorus, it goes to a D. So this is a regular D, first finger on the second fret of the G, second finger on the second fret of the high E, and third finger on the third fret of the B. There's no other chords. There's one other little chord. There's a D7 when it goes into the sort of instrumental part at the end, transitioning. So after that repeats like 3 or 4 times. D7, so first finger on the first fret of the B, second finger on the second fret of the G, third finger on the second fret of the high E. It does that for a bar before it goes into an instrumental verse and chorus, and it's done. Okay, so let's talk about the right hand a little bit. I think she's using 4 fingers for its finger picked. It's on a nylon string guitar, by the way, which I don't have a nylon string guitar, so this is a steel string guitar, so it sounds a little different. 4 fingers, so thumb, index, middle, and ring. The thumb is always playing like every beat, like this kind of thing. And then these fingers are often playing together. So one thing you could practice is this kind of thing. So it's like, so on this G, on this first G, you're gonna pick the low E string with your thumb, and then your index is on the D, your middle is on the G, and your ring finger's on the B. And those happen together, and it's kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So together, then just thumb, then together, then just thumb. So you can do that for the G and for the G over F sharp. So that's sort of the picking pattern for a lot of the chords. When you do this, when you do this, and when you do this. So this is the C to the C over B. Now your thumb is on the A string instead of the low E string, because that's where the low note of the chord is. But same kind of idea. Pick everything together. You're your index, middle, and ring are still on the D, the G, and the B. Do them all together. A thumb by itself, everything together, thumb by itself. Make sense? You could play the whole song like that. That would be a good way to do it. So your thumb would be just picking every beat on whatever the low note of that chord is, which is so your thumb is on the low E string for the G and the G over F sharp and the E minor. It's on the A string for the C over B and the A minor. And then for the D, the thumb can go to D. Although sometimes I hear her being on the A string. Okay, but there are some fancier things. There's this kind of hammer-on thing that she does. She doesn't usually do it on the G over F sharp, but she does do it in the intro. So it's like dun. It's a little confusing, that intro. It's a little crazy. You could do it like that, like 1, 2, 3, 4. And you could kind of improvise a little bit with this hand. That's kind of what I did. I did sort of something like what she does, but it's but the real pattern. I'll show you the important part. So when you go on the E minor, so this is like we did. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now when you get to the E minor, everything together one time with your thumb on the low E string, your index on the D, your middle on the G, and your ring on the B. Now, this hand is gonna do this little pick up and then hammer back on. She seems to do it with both of her fingers, but the only one you hear is the D string. So I think sometimes I did it like that because you can, but so this is the finger picking for this part though. You're gonna do your index on the D and your thumb on the low E together. Then thumb on the low E, then ring on the B string, and then index on the D again. So there was a thumb I missed. So it's like thumb and index together with the hammer on. Thumb, ring on the B, thumb on the low E, index on the D, and then everything together. So is that really slow? So thumb on the low E and index on the D together, and the D string note in this hand hammers on. Then thumb by itself, then ring finger by itself on the B, thumb by itself, index finger on the D by itself, thumb by itself, everything together. I'll tab that out if that helps, and I'll put a link below. Same exact thing on the A minor. The only thing that changes on the A minor is now your thumb is on the A string instead of the E string. But your other fingers are in the same places. So thumb on the A and index on the D together for the hammer on, thumb by itself on the A, ring by itself on the B, thumb by itself on the A, index by itself on the D, all together. Those are the only two chords where you have to worry about that pattern. She sometimes does some stuff on the, I tried to sort of imitate it. Sometimes on the E minor, she seems to move the pattern up to the top 4 strings. It's like, and maybe it gets a little more freestyle. This pattern is not like super strict. Like there's definitely some other playing around with. So you can mess with it a little bit, right? You could that wasn't very good, but I just mean like you can like do different things with these fingers. But the basic pattern is these chords, you go, that's sort of alternating together, then thumb. Do that for this chord. Now for this chord, that pattern we just did, then the same thing. I guess there's a last thumb. Then the same kind of thing. That's the verse. That's the chorus just adds this D. Why should I? And that can be that same kind of picking pattern. Together, thumb, together, thumb. Then it's just this again. Feel when you're, and this is this again. That again. And then in the chorus now, it does this, the C to C over B to A minor thing again, but then it repeats it. So the first chorus, it repeats it just twice. Now it does it again. And then it just goes to an instrumental verse. The second chorus, it repeats it more times, maybe 4 times. I wasn't sure as I played it. I forgot already. Maybe it's only 3, or is there one more? And then this is where it's the stray D7 for just 2, 3, 4, and then it's just one instrumental verse, one instrumental chorus, and it sort of fades out on the A minor. I was saying before that she sometimes on the E minor in various places seems to move the pattern up a little bit. It's almost like you could just move your right hand up to the top 4 strings, to the D, G, B, and E. That's very optional, but it's something I hear her do sometimes. But otherwise, this basic idea should help you. I'll write out some tabs for you to follow with. Please do let me know if you have any questions, and I hope this was helpful. All right, see ya.